In 2021, writer-artist Peach Momoko, with scripting assistance from Zach Davison, launched her own version of the Marvel Universe with a series of one-shots known as Demon Days, followed up in 2022 by another set of one-shots known as Demon Wars. These one-shots transport the Marvel Universe to a world based on Japanese Shintoism, casting Marvel's heroes and villains as yokai, gods, and other Shinto legends. While I'm not well-versed in Shintoism, at all, I know that the writing is sharp, the art is gorgeous, and the character transformations seem to make sense from at least a surface-level perspective, aka mine. There are also sections at the end of each issue called yokai files that explain the origins of the yokai used in the book. So, to see how Momoko turned the modern Marvel Universe into Japanese myth, let's run through the series. The first one-shot, subtitled X-Men, is one of the few named explicitly after Marvel characters. It takes place in ancient Japan, explaining that the humans and the yokai lived in peace by living separately, the yokai in the mountain forests and the humans in their valleys and villages. However, when one village tried to expand, the yokai ogres known as Oni had no choice but to steal the village's food, leaving them susceptible to venom, reimagined as Orochi the eight-headed snake. The issue stars Sai, a wandering swordsman with a hunting dog named Logan, a Japanese priest or Jushi called Juju, and a young archer girl named Suki. Sai is Psylocke, complete with the purple hair, and her having Wolverine as a pet is just hilarious due to him being the one that trained her in the main universe, and Wolverine just gets to be an actual animal here. Sai's swordsman status is also great, due to mainline Psylocke being essentially a ninja with a dagger as her signature weapon. Juju is Jubilee based on the name and design, and she even uses real fireworks to help defeat Venom, mirroring her firework powers. On the topic of Venom, him being Orochi isn't a one-to-one, but Venom works as a massive parasite that eats people, him being weakened by Juju's fireworks even alludes to his weakness to sound. Suki I can't quite place, although she seems fairly close to Danielle Moonstar of the New Mutants, based on the hairstyle and the fact that she uses a bow. Sai and Suki recruit the help of the Red Oni, in this case a version of the Hulk, who helps defeat Venom in exchange for food and peace. Hulk being an Oni matches their size and strength, and variations of Hulk have been read before, although Red Hulk in particular kept his human verbosity. That aside, the Oni just wanting peace from the humans matches the classic Hulk story nicely. Ultimately, the issue ends with the entire story being revealed as an in-universe legend that is being read by Mariko, Wolverine's Japanese love interest from the main series. This is still an alternate version of her though, as she's nothing like mainline Mariko, and her mate is Black Widow, although she goes by Kuroki. The final panel is a shot of a city in the middle of the forest, and you bet the Oni are gonna love that. The second one-shot is titled Mariko. It doesn't really have a lot going on in the way of character adaptation. The gist of the plot is that Mariko learns that she is the daughter of an Oni, and her maid Black Widow works for a different Oni named Ogun, who wants Mariko for unknown reasons. However, Black Widow does the Black Widow thing and betrays Ogun, although she gets captured by someone cloaked in black named Kuya. Mariko then leaves to find Ogun and learn about her mom. Black Widow remains a human and stays pretty close to her original counterpart, while Mariko gets turned into an Oni, aka a superhuman, which does work 100% for the story, so I'm not complaining. The only other thing here is that Ogun's name could be a reference to Ogun, Wolverine's samurai master, but that's about where the similarities between the two end, so I think it's just a coincidence or a reference rather than a full adaptation. The third one-shot, titled Cursed Web, sees Mariko teaming up with a girl based on Spider-Gwen. Do people still call her Spider-Gwen? Is she just Ghost Spider now? To battle versions of Mystique and Sabretooth. The Spider-Gwen girl, called Reina, is definitely Spider-Gwen based on not only her design, but also her pet spiders, which she collects venom from. She also uses a yo-yo in lieu of web spitters, which is awesome. The narrative doesn't quite line up, as her family was murdered by Mystique and she's out for revenge, but eh. Mystique and Sabretooth don't really have any changes to that, but them working together is cool, since they're both X-Men villains and do tend to work together in adaptations. Other story beats of note include Logan showing up, proving that the story from issue 1 is real, and Mariko going sicko mode thanks to spirit energy from her dead mom, or something. Reina then pieces out since her revenge quest is done. The fourth one-shot, Rising Storm, sees Mariko confronted by two yokai based on Thor and Storm. Although Thor and Storm don't want to fight, Mariko thinks they are lying and attacks anyways, unleashing her full power and having a way more difficult time than before. Ultimately, Thor and Storm reveal that they are actually gods, not yokai, and tell Mariko the truth. That being that Ogun is Mariko's sister, who ran away after their mother killed herself to join their father in the afterlife. Ogun believes Mariko killed their mother though, and wants revenge. Having Thor and Storm turn out to be not yokai but gods is a great twist. Not only does them being benevolent line up with their mainline counterparts, but Thor is a god and Storm is often worshipped as one. They are based on Raijin and Fujin, the gods of thunder and wind, respectively, which fits their characters perfectly. While the two are unrelated in the main universe, making them siblings here makes sense, since comparisons are often drawn between them by fans due to their strength and power sets, even if it does mean gender-bending Fujin to female in this instance. The fifth and final Demon Days one-shot, entitled Blood Feud, sees Mariko finally confront Ogun, who again I'm pretty sure doesn't have any real basis in the Marvel Universe. She does have a tiny baby yokai that turns into a big green yokai that starts to smash, so Hulk is here, the baby form being Banner. He also gets to fight Logan, which is funny given Wolverine's debut is against the Hulk. Now, it is a little weird that there are two Hulks, counting the Red Hulk from the first one-shot, but there are multiple Hulks in the main Marvel Universe too. Ultimately, Mariko convinces Ogun not to kill her, although Ogun does knock her out and leave her back home so she can vanish. And Black Widow is okay, so everything returns mostly to normal. Except, well, there might be yokai lurking around the city for Mariko to find. Following the conclusion of Demon Days, Peach Momoko wrote another set of 4 one-shots called Demon Wars, which follow up on Demon Days while adapting even more Marvel characters. Unlike Demon Days, though, Demon Wars is basically one big storyline, as opposed to 5 episodes that make up a whole story. So we're gonna go over the story, then the adaptations. Essentially, Mariko sees an old guy in front of a wood arch, and then goes through the arch to wind up in an ikai. From what I can interpret, it's a little pocket dimension thing filled with yokai. She is then greeted by a young girl named Omi, who brings her to this giant tree where a bunch of other yokai are. They all call her Princess Mariko, and are led by a samurai named Baka Yoroi. He explains that the long-dead Oni king Kigendoshi is stirring, and only his jawbone can revive him. Mariko was left this jawbone by her mom, since Kigendoshi is Mariko's ancestor. Baka Yoroi wants Mariko to revive Kigendoshi to stop the earthquakes his body is causing. However, he is opposed by a more regal samurai named Yamato, who thinks reviving Kigendoshi will kill all the humans. Baka Yoroi and Yamato fight Mariko and each other until it is revealed that Yamato is being possessed by Momiji, the Scarlet Hanya, who wants to take control of Kigendoshi when he is revived and kill all the humans because they kidnapped her and abused her powers as a child. Mariko is able to calm Momiji down and revive Kigendoshi without issue, restoring order to everything without anyone dying. As Mariko leaves the Ikai with both the human and demon world saved, the arch closes, potentially forever. Technically, there's a lot more complicated stuff in the plot, but this is basically the gist of it. The plot winds up being a loose adaptation of Civil War, and the character adaptations reflect that. They aren't nearly as close to their mainline counterparts as the Demon Days characters, but they make more sense in the context of Civil War. The two sides are led by Baka Yoroi and Yamato, adaptations of Iron Man and Captain America, respectively. Baka Yoroi is a red samurai armor who is very hot-headed. The fact that a Baka Yoroi is a type of yokai that is sentient samurai armor is just perfect for Iron Man. Yamato is cloaked in blue and depicted as a more classical samurai, wearing a blue cloak with blue and red circles, and is way more serious and thoughtful. Well, when he's not being possessed, that is. Their two teams are similar to Civil War as well. Iron Man has a spider yokai on his side who is supposed to be Spider-Man, even called the friendly neighborhood yokai at one point. However, he literally just looks like a spider and is notably not quippy, so the Spider-Man references are superficial. Omi is also with Iron Man, but she doesn't seem to be anybody. There's also Itsuki, an ogre blacksmith who is a very loose adaptation of Ilyana Rasputin, aka Magic, who has nothing to do with Civil War. On Captain America's side are Nekomata and Hayabasa, a panther and bird who are supposed to be the Black Panther and probably Falcon, who are Captain America's friends in the comics. Like Spider-Man, they mostly just resemble their counterparts superficially, although Nekomata has some of Black Panther's regal and inquisitive nature. Momiji, the Scarlet Hanya, is clearly the Scarlet Witch, who oddly enough is not really involved in Civil War. She mostly has her Avengers Disassembled personality and role, though, of being traumatized by everything, so she's manipulating people to destroy those who have seemingly wronged her. She's got illusionist powers and possession powers here, which lines up well with her magic and luck powers in the main continuity. Funnily enough, she manipulates Captain America here, whereas she manipulated Iron Man in Avengers Disassembled. Other than that, there's a character named Aosaki, who is supposed to be the Phoenix Force? Aosaki does mean Firebird, but the Phoenix barely resembles its comic counterpart here, and basically serves no purpose. Kigendoshi himself is also not based on anyone, although his body is possessed by Carnage for the sole purpose of a boss fight. Lastly, the old guy at the gate. I'm pretty sure he's Steve Rogers based on his demeanor and character design. It would also imply that he let Mariko in specifically to help himself fight against Momiji's control, which is something. He's also Marvel's first superhero, so him letting Mariko into the land of the yokai, the land of the superhumans, is very thematically fitting. Overall, Peach Momoko's Marvel Universe is a very interesting adaptation, blending the Marvel characters into Japanese myth quite well. While Demon Days focuses more on the characters and Demon Wars focuses more on the plot, both adapt the characters well to their respective situations while keeping them recognizable for a general audience. Or at least the main characters of Demon Wars get this treatment. Regardless, it's a very fun adaptation that is able to do its own thing while never losing sight of where it came from.